Hi, thank you for tuning into my channel. In this playlist, I will be sharing podcasts on a regular basis that will let you experience the Feldenkrais method via awareness through movement lessons. In the lessons, I will talk you through all the steps. You listen and do at the same time. The lessons are designed to improve ability and reduce effort in movement. The speed of an exercise should always be adjusted to your breathing rhythm. For the lesson, find a place where you can lie down comfortably and wear clothing that doesn't interfere with your movements and breathing. Also, take a rest whenever you want to. There will be plenty of rests in the lesson, but if you need more, please do. The lessons have been recorded live while teaching a class. This lesson is called Up from the Ground Through Your Skeleton. Everybody lie on your back and notice where you notice. What do you notice when you lie on your back on the floor? What stands out? Do you sense your breathing? And is it moving in a way you like it? And I want to ask you for this lesson every time, everything you do, think about, do you like it, the way you do it or the way it moves? Just as a backdrop. And I'm curious. Now lying with your legs long, spread your legs comfortably wide apart, not too wide, but in a bit of a V shape. And now push through your right heel. And then release. And then repeat this. Push through your right heel and let it go. And then push again with your right heel. And imagine you're pushing something away. And when I add this, does it change already how you push with your heel? And can you make it a pleasant movement? So you push through your right heel and you let it go. And how far upward can you feel this? Is it just in your ankle? Or can you also feel it in your leg? Or maybe even further up? Leave it and now push through your left heel. And repeat this a few times. So push through your left heel as if you're kind of shoving something away, and then release it. And do it in a way you like. And also here, how far up do you feel it? Do you just feel it in your ankle? Or does it travel up your leg? And is it the same for this leg as for the other one? Leave it. And keep your legs long and spread in a bit of a V shape. Now bring your right arm out to the side at shoulder height on the floor. And your left hand on your right shoulder. And now move your left hand, slide it over the right arm towards the right hand and back again. And repeat this. So you slide your left hand from your right shoulder over your arm, your right arm, towards your right hand, and then slide it back again. And make it in a movement that you enjoy. And notice what happens with the rest of you. So your left hand stays in contact with your right arm the whole time. It's kind of caressing the right arm towards the right hand. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't reach there, but pay attention to what happens with the rest of you. So your hand initiates it, and then somehow it pulls along your shoulder, your left shoulder, and your ribs on the left side, and you're somehow rolling a little bit towards that right hand. And what's happening with your head? Is it also rolling with the movement, or is it staying in the middle? And if it's staying in the middle, can you let it roll with? Leave it, roll back to your back, and rest. Now take your left arm and put it diagonally upward in between your left shoulder and your head on the floor. And now slowly start to lengthen that left arm and then let it go. So the arm is pointed in between the left shoulder and the head. So let's say it's like 2 o'clock or something, or 9 o'clock. So you lengthen the left arm and then you let it go. And you repeat this a few times. And can you notice that it starts to pull through you more? And where does it go? Can you feel that it moves to the right side of your pelvis? Or maybe not, maybe it doesn't reach there. Pause, bring your arm down and rest on your back. Lie on your back with your legs comfortably wide. Bring your left hand to your right shoulder and your right arm is out to the side again at shoulder height on the floor. And now slide your left hand towards your right hand and let it come back to the right shoulder again. And this time, as you're caressing your right arm with your left hand towards your right hand, can you press the right side of your pelvis to the floor? So you're kind of caressing your left hand from your right shoulder to your right hand. And somehow you're pulling along the left side of your body. And then as you do this, can you press the right side of your pelvis to the floor? And does this help in any way? And can you make this movement in a way that you like it? Pause, roll to your back, and just rest. And still with your legs in a V shape. Again, push through your right heel to lengthen the right leg and let it go. And repeat this a few times. And again, imagine that you're pushing something away with your right heel. And as you're pushing the heel away a little bit and you lengthen the right leg, do you notice there's something happening on the left side of your pelvis? Maybe it's ever so tiny, maybe it's not reaching there. But can you feel maybe the idea of it? So you kind of push something away with the right heel and then you let it go again. And as I said, this whole lesson is about moving in the way that you like it. Leave it and just rest in lying. Have your legs spread in a V shape wide, again long on the floor. Your left arm out to the side at shoulder height on the floor. And your right hand is on the left shoulder. And now slide your right hand towards the left hand, caressing the left arm. And come back again to the left shoulder. And repeat this. Go slow. And notice how the rest of your body starts to roll along. And it's the hand that initiates the movement, and back again as well. And if you did both sides, is this side different than the other side? Easier? More difficult? Or something else pops out? Leave it and rest on your back. Now have your legs spread and your right arm diagonally upwards between your head and your right shoulder. So let's say it's 9, 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, 10:30, somewhere. And now begin to lengthen the right arm and then let it go again. And repeat this a few times. So your right arm is in between your head and your right shoulder on the floor, and you lengthen it away and then you release. And notice how far does it pull through you. Can you look for a connection of the arm with the left side of the pelvis? Does it reach there? It's probably a tiny bit, or maybe it doesn't reach that far. It doesn't matter. Leave it. Bring your arms down beside you or wherever you find comfortable and just rest. Have your legs spread wide again in a V or something like this. Your left arm out to the side at shoulder height. Your right hand on the left shoulder. And now as you slide your right hand towards your left hand, press your left hip to the floor. And how would you do this so it makes sense, so it helps? When would you push or roll your pelvis on the floor? So your right hand caresses from the left shoulder towards the left hand. It makes you roll. And how would it be helpful to also press the left side of your hip into the floor of your pelvis? Repeat it several times. And again, do it in a way that you like. How would you do this in a way that you really like it? As if you're just really caressing yourself. And as a change, when you look for a way to do it, and you really like to do it that way. Leave it, roll back to your back. And now push through your left heel to lengthen that leg. And release it again. And repeat it a few times. And imagine that maybe you push something away with the left heel. Do you feel that it could maybe start to move the right side of your pelvis as you push the left heel away? Ever so tiny. Leave it and just rest. Your legs are still long and in a V shape. Your right arm is out to the side at shoulder height. And slide your left hand towards the right one. And then come back to the right shoulder again. And the next time you slide your hand towards the right hand, your left hand towards the right hand, bring the left hand a little bit higher than the right hand. And then you come back to your right shoulder. And the next time you bring your left hand again a little bit higher than your right hand. So slightly you move from your right hand a little bit upward towards your head, but still everything's on the floor. And you keep sliding across the arm, but it's only in the end that the direction goes, instead of to the right hand, a little bit up from the right hand. And the next time it goes a little bit more up, and then a little bit more up. So it goes all the way in the direction of your head, but it doesn't need to reach there. And every time, look at your hand and see if it changes something. So you slide your hand and you keep looking at your hand, where the hand is going. Does it change how you move, where you move? And can you feel how it pulls through you? Leave it and just rest for a minute. Still have your right arm out to the side at shoulder height. And now the left hand goes from the right shoulder again towards the right hand. And it comes back. And then the next time you caress the right arm with your left hand, you reach with your left hand a little bit under your right hand. And then the next time you reach even a little bit further under your right hand. So every time, so you start with just caressing your arm towards the right hand. Then the next time when you come again from your shoulder, you caress the arm, but at the end you go a little bit under the right hand. Then you come back again to your right shoulder, caress the right arm again and go even further down from the right hand. And every time you go a little bit down towards your legs. And is there a point when you do this that you can come up to your right elbow? How would that work? So is there a moment, and maybe it helps if you look at the hand. So look at the left hand. So you're caressing the right arm and you go kind of further and further down towards your leg. You reach there, you look at your left hand. Is there a moment when you can come up to your right elbow? And if there isn't, just don't do it. But if there is, see, it should be kind of easy and effortless. And maybe you could even start to, if you reach to your right elbow, you could start to push through that elbow to come even further up. How far does the left hand need to slide to do this, and in which direction? Leave it and just rest on your back. And notice how you're resting. Are you thinking as you rest, like, how do I do this? Why? I don't get it. Or are you like, don't have to do anything for now. I'm just going to let it all go. Because the rests are not really to kind of rest, but it's just to break with what we've been doing. So we can just try it again and do it slightly differently maybe. So now you put your right arm alongside you, so like in the direction of your feet, with your palm on the floor. So your right arm alongside you, palm to the floor. In a comfortable way, so it doesn't need to be next to your leg, but somehow in between the shoulder and the leg is fine. And now the left hand, bring it to the right shoulder and slide it down the right arm and keep sliding it past the hand. And then see if you can bring yourself up to your elbow like this. How would you do this? And keep looking at the hand. So now the hand and the right arm is not at shoulder height, but it's more in between shoulder height and your leg. And you slide it down. The left hand slides down the right arm and slides beyond the right hand. And it kind of pulls you up to your right elbow. And maybe you can even come up to sitting. But you don't have to force it. If it doesn't reach there, it's fine. But just feel that it could. And if you maybe keep looking at the hand, at the left hand moving, it gets even easier to come up to the right elbow. And maybe it can even pull you up to sitting. And maybe if you kind of let go of your the straightness of your legs and you just bend your knees, you can come to side sitting with your knees bent. With your knees bent. And can you actually make this an enjoyable movement? What would you do? Would you just lie on the floor for a bit, or would you just go do it very differently? Much faster, much slower? Leave it and rest on your back. And now resting on your back, just imagine what you just did. And then think, what would you need to make it more clear or to make it easier? Just think of it. Now bring your left arm out to shoulder height. Your right hand is on the left shoulder. And now first, caress from your left shoulder towards your left hand, and then come back again. And then the next time you caress your right hand toward the left hand, bring it a little bit higher than the left hand on the floor. And then the next time you bring it a little bit higher. So it goes again from your hand at shoulder height, your left hand, a little bit higher than your left hand, the next time a little bit higher, kind of all the way in the direction of your head. But do it easy and comfortable and see what is an easy way. Maybe repeat one slide in one angle and then go up a little bit. And notice how it pulls through you. And is it different on this side than it was on the other side? Is this side easier or harder? And again, see if you can look at your sliding hand and if this helps, if this clarifies something or it makes it easier. Let your left arm be out to the side at shoulder height. Your right hand comes back to the left shoulder. And next time you slide again all the way over the arm to the left hand, and then come back. And then the next time you slide across the left arm again, but a little under the left hand. And now every time your hand goes a little bit lower than the time before. So it moves in between the left hand and the left leg. And notice if this is easier or harder. And look at your hand. Really look at the sliding hand. And also, like you go towards your left leg with the sliding of the right hand. And is there a moment when you keep sliding that right arm and hand that you can come up to your left elbow and then come back to the floor again? When does it make sense and you don't have to use any power or anything to come up to your left elbow? Just by reaching your right hand a little bit in between your left arm and your left leg. And maybe you can come all the way up to sitting. Can you help with like pushing the left elbow into the floor at a certain point? Pushing maybe is not the right word, but giving it some weight and using a kind of momentum there. Leave it and just rest in lying. And notice how you're breathing. Are you sighing like half? Or is your heartbeat up? Or are you just resting? Did your body just get softer or more alive? Now have your left arm somewhere alongside you, palm down on the floor. So I mean with alongside you, it's kind of closer to your left leg, but not too close. It's kind of a comfortable, you just put it there, arm. Have your right hand on your left shoulder. And let the right hand slide down the left arm towards the left hand. And let it go even further down. And keep reaching with your right hand and arm down, down, down. Look at your hand. And notice that it can bring you up to your left elbow. And then maybe you can come up to sitting by pushing your left elbow a little bit into the floor. And is this side different than the other side? And then you come back down again, and then you reach again. And can you kind of fold in your hip joints and let your knees bend to make it even easier to come to sitting? So it's it's the reaching, but also just the bending over the hip joints and the bending of the knees. Leave it and come back to resting on your back. And of course, now we're going to do something even more fun. You have both arms alongside you, palm on the floor. And we're going to alternate. So you choose whatever you want. So you have one arm long with your palm down on the floor. The other hand is on the shoulder of that arm. And you start to slide it down the arm, looking at the hand the whole time. And then coming up to your elbow. And let your knees bend and fold in your hip joints. Then you come back down. Then you have the other arm alongside you on the floor. And you start to kind of slide down that arm further and further down so it brings you up to the other elbow. And you kind of come up to side sitting or sitting in the other way, on the other side. So you go from the left side to the right side. Just playful. Reaching your hand along the arm that's long. Look at the hand, sliding, sliding, sliding. You come up to your elbow and then have soft hip joints and knees and come up to sitting. And then you come back to the floor again and you go the other way up, sliding down the arm, further than the hand, up the elbow, soft hip joints and knees, come up to sitting and you go back down again. And make this a really enjoyable movement. You could do it forever. And leave it. Roll to your back and rest. And notice how you're resting on the floor now. Is the floor a friendlier place? And how does your body feel? And your breath? Now this one's even more fun. So you have your arms out in front of you towards the ceiling. So your arms are straight out in front of you and your legs also straight in front of you towards the ceiling. And now you roll, bringing your right elbow to the floor. And then you come back to the center and you roll towards your left elbow. And then you go from left to right like this. And now you go further and further towards the elbows. And is there a moment that you could push yourself up to sitting with straight legs from the elbow? Just try it. So you really have to roll to the side and then you kind of land on your elbow and you use your elbow to come up to sitting with long legs. And it's just fun. And then you go to the other side and you come up to side sitting or to sitting with long legs there. And then you roll back to your back. And then you roll with your arms and legs out to the other side. And you roll from side to side into sitting with long legs. And leave it. Roll to your back and rest. And just notice how you're resting on the floor. Check your breath, check in with your breathing. Could you make most of the movements enjoyable or kind of nice to do? Or did you forget it along the way? And did it change anything when I asked you to do this? How does your body feel? Now roll to one side and come up to sitting and then to standing and notice how you're rolling. Is it different? Is something standing out? And now in standing, what do you notice? Maybe there's details in standing that stand out to you. And then go for a little walk. And notice how you're walking. How much of your skeleton and the floor under your feet can you sense? And what's the connection between your pelvis and your head as you walk? And do you have different choices that you could make? How you use your feet and how you walk? This is the end of the lesson. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.